Hi there, my name is Madison Taducci. This is my submission for KPB205 Assessment 1. The documentary that I have chosen to analyse is The Umbrella Man, which is a short film from Eric Morris, in which the subject Josiah Thompson is interviewed in relation to the content, which is The Umbrella Man, relating to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The purpose of this presentation is to understand the participatory documentary mode and how it shapes the attitudes and experiences of the viewer. There is an investigation into the components and characteristics of the mode and how it impacts on the content of the film. Together with this is an analysis of theoretical context of documentary form. So, the short documentary is an example of a film in the participatory mode in that it is an interview between Eric Morris and Josiah Thompson. The participant, being Josiah, is a professional resource as he has devoted years to scrutinising the Kennedy assassination. And while this information isn't present to the viewer, it is positioned that Josiah is the main source of information, as there is no one else that can refute these claims that he makes or the information that he imparts on the viewer, as he is the only person that is interviewed in this documentary. There is a direct interaction between the filmmaker and the subject for content rather than passive observation, though it's interesting to note that Morris doesn't really talk that much during this documentary. I believe he only speaks maybe 3 times during the whole interaction, and I think that's a stylistic choice that he implements to keep the viewer enthralled into a type of storytelling between Thompson and the viewer. It is limited in that it cedes control to the point of view of the subject. Thompson's judgment of the Umbrella Man is easily accepted by the viewer, as I said, because there's no other judgment to listen to. The style of interaction between the filmmaker and Thompson provides an excellent avenue for learning. Viewers are able to personify the voice that is giving the information in the film, and learning is completely centered on personal interaction between filmmaker Eric Morris and the subject. I think the sound is an important aspect to this film, primarily the voice of Josiah, punctuated with rare input from the filmmaker. A constant backing track plays throughout, serving to keep the viewer interested. I think that the music is interesting in this documentary, as it's soft and slow with kind of a hint of sadness to it. I think that it serves to keep the viewer interested, and it makes you feel like you're gathered around a table listening to a story, or perhaps by the fireplace. There is a strong engagement between the audience and the subject, and I think it's easy to invest in the encounter between Thompson and Morris. Onto the relationships. The impact of this documentary mode on the content of the film is significant, as the entire excerpt is centered on an interview, which is indicative of a participatory mode. The style of filmmaking is well thought out and appropriate to the delivery of the content. The recollection of information through an interview is an excellent opportunity to expose the audience to historical content, albeit through somewhat personal perspectives. Now, it's interesting because this isn't really a traditional interview. There aren't set questions and answers that is given. It's more just Morris prompting Thompson to keep on with his story, to keep going on. It's as if he's been through these interviews many times, and I'm sure he has been. Some interesting stylistic choices influence the impact of the film. The filmmaker is definitely the researcher, as common in this documentary mode, though uncharacteristically does not have a heightened presence in the film, as I've been saying. This stylistic choice, I believe, complements the feeling of a storytelling session. The choices of the filmmaker are clearly well constructed to enthrall the viewer. I think Morris does a fantastic job at ensuring that the audience will give undivided attention to the film. The length of the interaction is perfect for a culture of attention deficit individuals who tire of endless droning in educational media. This film leaves the viewer wanting more. Perhaps they will be motivated to research the topic further or to search for other work from Morris. When I first watched this film, I had to know more on The Umbrella Man, I had to know more on Thompson, and I wanted to see what else Morris had done. So I got on the web and I searched for a bunch of different things relating to the content, and I believe that many people who watch this will do the same thing, and ultimately I think that is the goal of Morris when he made this film. It has the feeling of like an appetizer, a small taste of Morris's style, and an insight into what he can produce as a filmmaker. When considering the stylistic choices of Morris and how they impact on the way the film is perceived, it is important to consider the reasons behind the filmmaker's style. As Bill Nichols states, we concentrate on what the film reveals about the relation between the filmmaker and the subject. Now, I've said it before, but the way the interaction is set up doesn't feel like a structured interview. It's more like a conversation between acquaintances. the filmmaker doesn't have a series of set questions. Rather, he only speaks a few times during the whole interaction, and that's because ultimately Thompson is the one person that you want to be paying attention to, and Morris doesn't want to distract from that at all, I think. Once again, I believe that, as I'm saying, this is more like a storytelling session. That's the point that I'm really trying to drive home here. So the mode of the film and the style of Morris come together perfectly, I believe, to fit the content of the documentary, being The Umbrella Man. The end result is interesting, informative, and it grabs the attention of the viewer and manages to plant the seed of curiosity that leaves you wanting more. That's it for me, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch my presentation.